up, guys? It's Richie here with Statifying Football. This is your Week 11 college football noon games. Let's break it down. Maryland taking on Ohio State. It's going to be a slaughter. Ohio State's going to kill them. Maryland's coming out 38-7 loss to Michigan. Two quarterbacks combined 10 of 22, 104, and a pick. They had 233 yards. The only thing they had was a kick return for touchdown. OSU's coming off a bye. They killed Wisconsin in the last game, 38-7. Justin Fields, Heisman candidate, 167 passing, 2 touchdowns plus 1 rushing. Dobbins, Doak Walker Award candidate, 163 rushing, 2 touchdowns. Defense had 5 sacks, 2 turnovers, only allowed 191 yards. Ohio State's going to kill them. Penn State, Minnesota, one of the games of the week. Both are undefeated, both in the top 6 or 7, I think, whatever. Penn State's both coming off byes. Penn State's last game was a 28-7 win over Michigan State. Sean Clifford, 189 passing, 4 touchdown passes, and they had 4 turnovers on defense. Minnesota's coming off a shellacking 52-10 of Maryland. Rodney Smith ran for 103 and a touchdown. They ran for 321 yards. Defense had 2 turnovers at pick 6, only allowed 210. I think this is going to be an awesome game, back and forth. I'm going to go with Penn State here. Just because it's in Minnesota. Penn State, or Minnesota's running game, they have basically 3 1,000-yard rushers on their team. 2 of them were over 1,000. One was pretty close. I'm going to give the edge to Penn State just because of the quarterback. Both quarterbacks are about the same amount of experience, but I think Sean Clifford is just a better quarterback than Tanner Morgan, and I think that's the difference in the game. I think Penn State's going to win a really, really good game. Vanderbilt in Florida. Vanderbilt got killed 24-7 by South Carolina. They only had 180 yards of offense, 2 turnovers. Their only players, Keyshawn Vaughn, great running back, will do really well in the NFL. Not enough to win this game. Florida's coming off a 24-17 loss to Georgia, but Trask had a good game, 257 passing, 2 touchdowns. They only ran for 21 yards. They really got to get that going, but I think Florida is a better overall team than Vanderbilt, and it shouldn't be close, but Vanderbilt always plays Florida close, but I got Florida winning either way. Baylor and TCU. Baylor's coming with a close 17-14 win over West Virginia to stay undefeated. Charlie Brewer had a good game, 20-26, 277, 2 touchdowns. They had 453 yards of offense, but had 3 turnovers in that game. And their defense, though, only allowed 219 yards of offense there. TCU came off a shootout loss to Oklahoma State, 34-27. Max Duggan, he's a freshman quarterback. He's going to be good. He passed for 258 and a touchdown, ran for 86 yards and a touchdown, but he had 3 interceptions, and that was pretty much the game there. Jalen Rager, 7 catches, 128. They had 450 yards of offense, but 4 turnovers in that game. Defense did have 3 sacks. I'm going to go Baylor here. I think TCU's looking really good, and they might be good in the next few years, but I think it's Baylor's year this year, apparently. All right, East Carolina and SMU, Southern Methodist and East Carolina. East Carolina almost had a huge upset on Cincinnati. They were up by 12 points going into the 4th quarter, but they lost to Cincinnati. ECU did 46-43. Holden Naylor he demolished the school record with 535 rushing yards, 4 touchdown passes, and ran for 1 touchdown. CJ Johnson set the American Athletic Conference record with 283 receiving yards in the game. 12 catches, 283 and a touchdown. Blake Pearl, 8 catches, 105. They put up 638 yards, but they could not stop Cincinnati from coming back. SMU also lost a shootout game to Memphis. That was where game day was, in Memphis. They lost 54-48. Shane Buechele, 456 passing, 3 touchdown passes. James Prochet, 13 catches, 149 yards and a touchdown. Rasheed Rice, 7 catches and 122. They put 553. They had 4 sacks, but they did have 11 penalties. They need to really clean that up, especially against East Carolina. Has shown they can move the ball mostly this year, and especially against Cincinnati, usually a pretty good defense. They moved it up and down the field. I think this will be a shootout, but I think SMU is a team that bounces back. I think SMU gets this win, but this could be a pretty high-scoring game. All right, UMass and Army. UMass got drilled 23-21 by Liberty. The only thing I can say is Andrew Britta, 134 passing, 2 touchdowns. That was it. Defense did have 3 turnovers. Army's having a down year. They're only 3-6. They lost a close game to Air Force, 17-13. Jabari Laws, 9 of 11 for 214 yards. That's insane for option quarterback. 1 touchdown passing, plus 54 yards and a touchdown rushing. Camden Harrison, 3 catches, 130 and a touchdown. I think Army bounces back. UMass is terrible. Army, I don't think it's quite as bad as their 3-6 record, but they're pretty down this year. I think they at least bounce back for this game and should be able to beat UMass. All right, Western Kentucky and Arkansas. Western Kentucky, bounce back year this year. Only won 1 or 2 games last year. They're 5-4, I think, now. 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Let me make sure. Yeah, 5-4. However, they did They did lose to Florida Atlantic last week, 35-24. Ty Story, though, he had a lot of yards and stuff. 380 passing yards, 2 touchdown passes, plus 1 rushing, but he threw 3 interceptions. And that was kind of the difference in that game. Lucky Jackson, 9 catches, 194 yards and a touchdown, but they turned it over 4 times. Net loss. Arkansas got killed by Mississippi State, 54-24. 3 quarterbacks combined, 9 of 24 for 101, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. The only thing they really had going was Rakeem Boyd ran for 114 and a touchdown. They ran for 184 as a team. Arkansas, yes, they're in the SEC conference. They suck though. Western Kentucky is actually a pretty decent CUSA team. That being said, I'll go with Arkansas here. I think Arkansas better look out. The line is only Arkansas by 2.5, and that's in Arkansas. So you know the Vegas people don't respect Arkansas, and neither do I. But just that weird talent thing alone. If Boyd goes off for 100 yards, they should win. So I'll get Arkansas, but watch out, Arkansas. Western Kentucky's coming. All right, Texas Tech, West Virginia. Texas Tech coming up by. They lost 37-34 to Kansas on a freaking... What the fuck? They blocked Kansas' field goal with under 13 seconds, and the guy trying to run back the field goal pitched it back. So Kansas recovered it with 2 seconds left and got another shot at a closer field goal, which they made and won. Fucking idiot. Anyway, Texas Tech lost 37-34. Jet Duffy, 271 passing, 3 touchdowns, plus 40 rushing. West Virginia lost in a close game against Baylor, 17-14. Austin Kendall, 2 of 5 passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. They only had 219 yards, though. Defense, though, had 8 sacks in that game. Darius Stills had 3. They forced 3 turnovers. Didn't have a kick return for a touchdown. I think Texas Tech, yeah, they're down kind of this year, but Texas Tech offense is still good. West Virginia, I don't think, can really keep up offensively. I mean, they might be able to a little bit, but I got Texas Tech in that game. All right, Purdue, Northwestern. Purdue's having a weird down year, but they had a really good win against Nebraska last week. They won 31-27, even though their second-string cornerback is now hurt, and now they got to play their third one. But Jack Plummer, while he was in, passed 242, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Then the third string came in, Aiden O'Connell, 6 of 7, 62 yards. They put up 449 yards of offense. Turned it over twice. They had 10 penalties, and yet somehow they won. Northwestern got drilled 34-3 by Indiana. They only had 199 yards of offense and 3 turnovers. I think Purdue should win this game. Northwestern, they have a decent defense, but haven't done a damn thing on offense all year. Purdue has just had really bad luck with their injuries, especially at the quarterback position. Even when they played, though, they still been competitive. They still shown they can move the ball at times, and I think they'll move it just enough to win this game against Northwestern. All right, Florida State and Boston College. Florida State fired Willie Taggart at coach. They got killed by Miami 27-10. They only had 203 yards. They allowed 9 sacks in that game. Boston College coming in after a huge win against Syracuse, 58-27. Dennis Crossell, 8 for 10, 195 yards, 3 touchdown passes. The reason he was able to get so many passing yards on only 8 completions was because they ran for 496 yards. They are not an option team. They just fucking ran all over Syracuse. They had 691 yards of total offense, which is a school record. A.J. Dillon, one of the best backs in the country. He's second in the nation right now in rushing. He ran for 242 and 3 touchdowns. And the backup, David Bailey, by the way, ran for 172 and 2 touchdowns. Defense had 3 sacks. This might get ugly. Florida State, man. I mean, they could win. They got the talent, but Boston College is steamrolling. Florida State sucks. They can't stop anybody. They have a new coach. I think Boston College should be able to win this one. And they might pound Florida State, but I think at least Boston College should win. All right, Georgia Tech and Virginia. Georgia Tech lost a close one, 20-10 to Pitt. 2 quarterbacks were not very good. 8-21, 108, 1 touchdown, 1 pick combined 2. They only had 194 yards. They turned it over twice. They did force 3 turnovers, which they're going to need to if they want to beat Virginia. Where Virginia's coming off an awesome shootout win against North Carolina, 38-31. This is why I picked North Carolina though, because Bryce Perkins, a quarterback for Virginia, he can play awesome at each game, any game, but he can also be inconsistent. He turned it on against North Carolina. 30 of 39 passing, 378 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, plus 112 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That's a total of 490 yards and 5 touchdowns just by him alone. Oh, and Terrell Jana had 13 catches, 146 yards. They put up 517. They shouldn't have any trouble with Georgia Tech. I think they blow them out. All right, going to the CUSA, UTSA Roadrunners taking on the Old Dominion Monarchs. UTSA, they lost 45-14 to Texas A&M. Lower Narcisse, 90 passing yards plus 54 rushing and a touchdown. Defense did have 3 sacks and it had a pick 6 late. Old Dominion lost 24-17 to FIU. They only had 233 yards. They turned over twice. They did have 4 sacks. I'm going to go UTSA here. I think UTSA has a little better overall talent than Old Dominion and can get it done slightly more. So I got UTSA there. All right, Air Force in New Mexico. Air Force having a great year. They beat Army 17-13. Timothy Jackson ran for 155 and a touchdown. They ran for 328 as a team. They had a goal line standing against Army late in the game that sealed the win for them. Whereas New Mexico lost 21-10 to Nevada. Tuioti, 237 passing yards. They did have 346 yards. This might be pretty close. New Mexico's showing they can move it a bit, but Air Force, they've been moving on everybody. They've been having a phenomenal year. They're 7-2. They want to try to get to the Mountain West Championship game. I get Air Force in that one. All right, Charlotte and UTEP. Charlotte beat a pretty decent Middle Tennessee State team, 34-20. Chris Reynolds, 192 passing, 1 passing touchdown plus 103 rushing yards and a touchdown. Aaron McAllister ran for 104 and 2 touchdowns. They ran for 240 as a team. UTEP got demolished 52-26 by North Texas. Kay Loxley, not great, 119 passing, 27 rushing yards. Trayvon Hughes ran for 97 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they had a kick return, for a touchdown. I got Charlotte in this one. Charlotte's been looking pretty competitive all year. Their offense can move it. Chris Reynolds, when Benny LeMay is in, I'm not sure if he was hurt or not, but when he's in, he's really good. But their backup, McAllister, ran for 100 yards, so I think Charlotte should be okay with this one, but this might be pretty close. All right, then you got a Pac-12 again, Stanford and Colorado. Stanford, they had a bye. They beat, actually, 41-31 win over Arizona. They beat Arizona. KJ Costello, I think it was his first game back in most of the year. Great game, 322 passing, 3 touchdowns. Cameron Scarlett ran for 102 and 2 touchdowns. Defense had 3 sacks and 2 turnovers. Colorado is coming off a 31-14 loss to UCLA. Steven Montez, 195 passing, 1 touchdown, a pick. They only had 283 yards. Colorado is weird. They started 3-0, then they've lost their last, 6 games? Yeah, 6 games. Just like last season, they started 5-0, then they lost 7. Stanford, I think, is getting healthy. Costello's back healthy. They're looking pretty good lately. I think Stanford probably should win that game. All right, and the final one for these new ones is Sun Belt, South Alabama, and Texas State. South Alabama's coming off a bye. They lost 33 to App State. They only had 139 total yards. Texas State lost 31-3 to Louisiana Lafayette. Tyler Vitt was okay, 206 passing, 38 rushing, but he threw 2 interceptions. And they only put up 264 and 2 touchdowns. I'm going to go Texas State here only because I feel like whoever's in a quarterback, their quarterback play has been pretty decent this year. They got a passing game going. They're not very good, but they got it going. South Alabama has really not shown much. They have a decent running game with Trey Minter, I think it is. But I'm gonna go with Texas State here. All right, those are my noon games. Check out all my other games later. Peace.